Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by WorkHuman. Thanks for joining me for your quick update on what's important in the world of work. My name is Steve Boese. Today in the Workplace Minute, we're looking at the Metaverse and why it failed as a workplace technology and what lessons we can learn about any new, potentially disruptive technology in the workplace. Let's break it down. One of the most ambitious and ultimately disappointing technology bets of the last decade was the Metaverse, specifically the idea that the Metaverse would fundamentally change how we work. This topic was back in the news again recently, with Meta announcing new layoffs in its Reality Labs division and confirming the shutdown of the Horizon Workrooms app. That's the Metaverse app that was supposed to bring meetings, collaboration, and really everyday work into the virtual reality space. Workrooms weren't just another experimental app. It was positioned as the business use case and the proof point that work itself would eventually migrate to the Metaverse. And now quietly and without any ceremony really, it's being turned off. To understand how we got here, it's worth rewinding to the origins of this idea. In 2021, Facebook rebranded itself as Meta and declared that the Metaverse would be the next major platform shift on the scale of the mobile internet and social media itself. And the promise was vast: immersive virtual worlds, persistent digital identities, new ways of interacting with people, with information, and with work. And for employees, that meant virtual offices, avatar-based meetings, and collaboration experiences that were supposed to feel more real than, say, Zoom meetings or just Slack messaging. At the time, this wasn't framed as some sort of optional experiment. It was presented as inevitable. Work, we were told, would move into these 3D realistic spaces. Offices would become virtual campuses. Training, onboarding, collaboration, even company cultures could be reimagined through VR headsets in these digital environments. HR and workplace leaders were encouraged, sometimes gently, sometimes a little bit more aggressively, to start preparing for this future. And to be fair, some progress happened. A handful of companies experimented with VR meetings, training simulations, virtual collaboration spaces, even employee onboarding. Horizon Workrooms sort of worked technically. You could have a meeting with colleagues, you could draw on virtual whiteboards, you could sit around a digital table as a floating avatar. But possible and desirable turned out to be very different things. Adoption never moved beyond pilots and demos. Usage rarely extended past just the fun of it or some novelty. And critically, almost no one woke up in the morning genuinely wanting to put on a heavy, pretty uncomfortable headset to do their job all day. So this is where the Metaverse vision collided with the reality of work. Work is already cognitively demanding. Adding bulky hardware, motion discomfort, and another layer of digital abstraction didn't make it any better, it made it harder. The technology also misunderstood something fundamental about how people experience work. They want efficiency, flexibility, and low friction. That matters more than an immersive environment. Most employees didn't care about a more real meeting, they just wanted fewer meetings. And if they attended one, they wanted it to be quick, accessible, important, and easy to leave. There were also deeper organizational barriers. Rolling out VR at scale was expensive, complex, and difficult to justify when the ROI wasn't clear. IT teams struggled with device management, HR leaders couldn't articulate measurable productivity gains, and executives, despite all the hype, they didn't use the tools themselves, so that's never a sign for long-term adoption. I'll admit to our own organization getting caught up for a brief moment in the Metaverse hype as well, because we didn't want to miss the next great workplace technology wave. We invested some time and money in some VR headsets. We built out some custom spaces in the Metaverse. We were able to prototype some internal meetings in the Workrooms app. We even created a space to hold virtual events and record podcasts in a VR studio. It was cool, kind of. I mean, it looked good. It had an element of fun, and it was kind of fun to do things like the design of your clothes on your avatar. And we felt like we were on the bleeding edge of workplace tech, and we'd have a leg up maybe on the next big shift in tech, so to speak. Yeah, it was cool and fun until it wasn't. Wearing the MetaQuest headsets got really uncomfortable after about 20 or 30 minutes. Those of us who are eyeglass wearers, we struggled mightily with the fit and the comfort. And most importantly, after several months of experiments and testing, we really never could engage any of our clients or prospects in the technology. It was an interesting experiment that went nowhere. I do have a slightly used MetaQuest headset available if anyone out there is interested. So fast forward to the present and the story is more clear. The metaverse didn't fail because people were resistant to change. It failed because it tried to solve problems most workers didn't actually have, while creating several new problems along the way. It was a technology-first vision searching desperately for a human-centered use case. And when the hype faded, what was left wasn't digital transformation, it was just an expensive lesson. So what can HR and business leaders take away from all this as we navigate the current wave of AI hype, right? And whatever comes next after that? First, technological inevitability should be seen as a red flag. When vendors or executives insist that a technology will absolutely redefine work, some skepticism is healthy and needed. Real transformation earns adoption over time. It doesn't declare victory at a launch event. Second, usefulness beats immersion every time. The most successful workplace technologies reduce friction, they save time, and they fit naturally in how people already work. They don't require headsets, a reinvention of your identity, or lots of training just to use or to feel normal using it. And third, pilots are not proof. Seeing something work in a demo environment is not the same thing as seeing it survive daily use by tired, distracted, and deadline-driven people. If leaders don't use the technology themselves and even enjoy using it, it's probably not ready for prime time. And finally, technology should elevate work and not ask workers to contort themselves around it. When a tool demands too much adoption, too much behavior change, or too much tolerance for discomfort, it's the wrong tool, no matter how impressive the vision looks. The metaverse wasn't the future of work, but it was a valuable reminder that the future of work isn't built on spectacles or technology alone. It's built by understanding people, respecting how work really happens, and being honest about what technology can and can't fix. Thank you so much for listening, and a big thank you to WorkHuman for supporting the Workplace Minute. If this episode made you think about how your organization can better evaluate the next new hyped workplace tech, please share it with a colleague. I'm Steve Boese, and this has been the Workplace Minute from H3 HR Advisors.